All right, a little bit of Dynamite. This is being filmed the next day around 7:40, 7:30 in the morning. I know I wanted to watch it, but I couldn't. It was bad enough Tuesday. I went to my physical therapy to let them check my ankle. Because as I said, I have a rupture. And they said it's not bad, but it's coming along. You got to wait a while. It may take another 2, 3, maybe 4 months before it heals. And I'm like, ugh. All I want is my ankle to work correctly. And they're saying it could take another 3 or 4 months. Particularly with me, it's all by myself. As I said, I do my own shopping. I have to do my laundry. And it shows because they said it's still lumpy. It's still ruptured. It takes time if you're walking on it all the time. You're supposed to rest, and I can't. So it was bad enough Tuesday that I was in enough pain after going to my physical therapy that I could not even watch NXT. But last night, I didn't know why my leg was hurting so bad. I thought I was feeling better, but then like halfway through the day, it started hurting bad. And then I found out the weather was going to be today. If anybody's ever learned, this is a little tip for you guys. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm an old man. I may not look old, but I'm old. And I remember as a kid, people in the family, older relatives, like grandparents, not my own grandparents, never met mine, but I had cousins who had grandparents, and I met them. And they said, always remember this, when you get older, you're going to feel the weather. And I said, no, yeah. And worse if you get hurt. My hands are pointing to my ankle. And understand, I already have a problem with my left leg. Already. But my ankle hurts more right now. And I'm like, fuck me. It sucks when you're like this. And I've been told that my physical therapy could take months more. Because not only am I older, I'm walking on it. I have someone around you that can help watch out for you guys. I'm by myself. I don't have anybody to watch out for me. Not that I don't have relatives who love me, but they can't watch out for me. So I'm stuck like this. But that's not here nor there, and I just spoke 2 minutes wasting your valuable time. So let's get to the show. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't see what JD had said because I didn't want to get skewed on my own review. But taking a guess from what he said over the last couple of months and the last couple of weeks, does All In feel important? He and Jesse have said, not really. And after I saw this show, I agree. And I'm like, why? Look, let's make this clear. Will the show be good? Yes, the matches will be excellent. The storytelling is going to be the major issue. And no matter how much you love AEW, it doesn't matter how much you love ROH. If the storytelling is not good enough, it's going to show. And let's open. Let's open with the Continental. I keep saying the Continental Cup, but it's the Continental Challenge Cup. And understand, they had a Continental Championship Cup at one time not a cup per se, but the championship tournament that started the Continental Championship, the Continental Classic. That's where Eddie Kingston went in. Now I just found out during the show that Eddie's injured again and he's out again. Damn it all. Are you serious? The guy can't catch a break. He can't. He's one of the few people I know that people love because of his personality more than his ring work. And understand, Eddie's ring work was never really bad. It never was. It was an old school style of wrestling. But he's been injured so many times and he took off so long. It just sucks. But this first match, taking away, please, understand what I'm saying here. It's not about the match quality. It's about what the story is. You have Claudio Castagnoli, who I could see as a Continental champ. Hell, I could see him as a TNT or World Champion. I don't know why they refuse to do anything with him. He has the size. He has the pedigree. He, as Cesaro, was one of the most loved people in WWE, but they never did anything with him. And then you got Moxley, who currently right now has been the Continental Champion for a long time, where many people thought, like myself, that he needs to take a break. They need to let him go away for a couple of months to come back and be refreshed. But he doesn't want to go, and Tony doesn't want him to go. So he's constantly being used, and he's overexposed. And then you decide, I don't care if you guys like his ring work. It's not about the ring work. It's about the story he tells. You got the former, because he's not the current champion right now. They froze him out as the champion. He cannot defend anymore until the tournament is over. If he was able to retain it, that the person who won the tournament would be the number one contender to go up against him. No, he is finished as a champ, but they let him join the tournament, which was a mistake. I didn't want to see him in this tournament. But he's gone through everyone, and then he goes up again against Claudio Castagnoli. And guess what? I knew from the very beginning he was going to win that match. And it's not the quality, because the quality was very good. It's not the point. If it's predictable, it sucks. And look who won by passing out Claudio. Moxley. So now he's going to go up against whoever won the next match. And let's get to it right now. Niles McGuinness versus Kyle O'Reilly, who I wouldn't mind if Niles would wrestle more. I wouldn't mind seeing Niles and Kyle wrestle as a tag team, because their styles are so similar. And you could say, well, why would you want someone with the similar styles? You got a Brit with a certain style and an American with a, I think he's American. I can't remember Kyle. He's either Canadian or American. With a certain style. They're very similar. They have similar personalities. They would be no better than the British Bulldogs. Because remember, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid had very similar, not exact, but similar personalities that made them interesting. Because when you actually look past them, you could see something interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing them as a tag team. But no, we have them go up against each other. You got a badass shiner on Kyle's eye, which closed that bitch up, because he took a straight, I think, uppercut, really good to the eye. But in the end, Niles won. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm actually glad to see Niles win. I feel that because he's in this match, it'll be interesting for Niles if they're going to let him wrestle more often. I'm actually glad to see it. They kept doing destroy with his ankle, and he won. But now it looks like he's going up against Moxley. I don't see anything more than Moxley beating Niles. But if they did go with Niles as the Continental Champion, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But they got Moxley there, and I don't believe that he will win. Unless it's another set of people. I'm going to see Niles up against Moxley, and I don't expect Moxley to lose. And if he wins, I don't care about the Continental Championship or the tournament or any matches he does. I'll ignore them. I'm going to say this right now. I'm saying it now. If he wins at All In, I believe he's going to have the final match at All In. Or All Out. I can't remember which one. But if he goes against Niles, because it looks like it's just them now. I could be wrong. I think there's maybe 2 more matches. No, there isn't no more matches. That's it. This is it. If he wins it, I'm ignoring the Continental Championship from now on. I'm going to ignore it until Moxley drops that title. If he regains it, I'm ignoring the title. And I'm going to ignore it any time when he defends it. I'll mention that he won it. Whoever he wrestles, I'll say he won it. And that's it. Because there's nothing there. They've overexposed him. Let's move on. Let's do Cope and the Bucks versus the Don Callis family. And the one who always jobs for the Don Callis family. And that is Rocky Romero. Let's make it clear. Christian comes out. I'm skipping over it because there's no point in it. Because when it comes to Rocky, only thing I've seen of Rocky Romero is that he jobs for the Don Callis family. Cope gives him a spear, he's done. He does that stupid slide, which I don't know why he keeps doing that. I don't know why he does the slide. The Bucks nail him. Cope spares him. That's it. That's all he does. He jobs. That's all that Rocky does. And understand, I know Rocky is a good wrestler. He can talk well. He's got personality. But now he just is a jobber for the Don Callis family. Because they don't want anyone else to job unless it's Lance Archer. And even then with Lance, it's rare. Because they still want to use Rocky to job him out. But hearing that Christian said, I see you beneath me. I don't think that you're special. You have made your influence on the business, but you're not legends. I like that. It was honest. Saying that they have names of matches behind them. They have names of a pay-per-view after them. Fine. But it made it very clear that now they're not doing the nice thing anymore, which I'm fine with. Because them being so nice, I didn't like the Bucks being nice. I'm being honest. I didn't like the Bucks being nice. They're annoying. Now, they can be good guys, but they don't need to be nice. They can just kick your ass and act like they're the best. They can be arrogant, but they can still be faces. Either way. Matt and Nick are better when they're arrogant. They don't care. They can still be good guys, but they can be arrogant as hell. They can be bad guys, and they can be arrogant as hell. They're just better when they're arrogant. That's the truth. And after, I believe it was Matt who got nutshotted, or was it Nick? I think it was Matt who got nutshotted. And then once Nick kicked Christian in the face, he gets a spear for his troubles, and you can see a little bit of Cope angry. He did not want to go there, but they went there. That was the last thing before All In, and there you go. Next, let's talk about MJF, because this is the main thing that they did this show. MJF making it clear that Andrade was not there, and then he paid some people to get him got. Then he wanted to make like an Andrade and act it out. Wanted to say, how do you know? And then go for a woman, and I believe I'll have a picture of her with Andrade and MJF together. You should see her. Her face is really red. The lighting there was bad. I don't think she had a sunburn or anything. But when she was there, she looked so red. But guess what MJF said? He said, girl is only a 4. Here she's a 10. But back home she's a 4. Bull fucking shit. That girl would be eaten alive in New York. Let's make this clear. I'm from New York. You're talking to a New Yorker here. Okay? Born and raised. And I can tell you right now, that one that you just saw the image of, she looked fine enough that every man will be trying to grab that ass. Legitimately. That's how good looking she is. She a 10. At least near a 10. She ain't no damn 4. And what happened? As MJF's about to say how you know, Andrade says it for him, nails him, and as he tries to crawl out of the ring with his own Triple B around his waist, you see Andrade with the national title. And this is what makes me think. Whether MJF wins or not, the gauntlet, because he's part of the gauntlet, I truly believe that eventually he will be going for the national championship. It is obvious to me that this feud being the way it is, you're going to have the national championship truly be defended by Andrade versus a MJF. Unless MJF is willing to put up his Triple B to try and get a shot at the national title, which I wouldn't see that, but they could also go there. Now, let me say this. How did I feel about the trios match of Persephone, the Divine Dominion, versus Maya and the Brawling Birds? Didn't care. Didn't care. Because honestly, why are we doing this? I said this last week when I saw Dynamite. Why is Maya World having to do a 4-way instead of doing that 4-way at All In? She's doing it there. Why? Why? You say that she's so important. Why wasn't her Fatal 4-way set up for All In? Why? You got Persephone beating her in the middle ring using her title. Yeah, fine. I'm alright with that. But why would you not make it important? Why not make a Maya World feel important by letting her have a match on the damn card of All In, the most signature show they got. You're telling me you couldn't make room for her? You're telling me you wouldn't be able to make room? Look, yes, we just had the segment of seeing Willow get nailed again by Mercedes Moné by the Owen Hart Tournament title, and also with a chair and the little hands he getting hurt. Fine. But you're telling me you couldn't make room for the TNT champion in a fatal 4-way? Bullshit. And if anybody said there's no room, they could have made room. They just didn't want to do it. So they didn't value Maya World at all. They didn't buy Persephone. They didn't really care about Sheeta. And they didn't care about Chris Statlander. All four of those women should be having a spot on All In a fatal 4-way for the TBS championship. No, they decided to do it a week or so ago. And I'm like, why do I care? You see? You see what I'm saying here? They say they care about Maya. They say they care about Persephone, Chris Statlander, and Hikaru Shida. Why are they not on the main card of All In? Why? Moving on. Let me say this. The closing match. I didn't really understand why we had it. There's no feud between the two. They just wanted to give a match to give a match. And that felt hollow. We're talking about Swerve Strickland, who is one of the most over people they have. And Jack Perry, who's over as well. And you're just throwing them into a match at the end of the show just to do a match with no storytelling, no tournament, no nothing, just a match. And they tore it down. And I'm not saying they can't, because their match was one of the best matches on the card. But it's an empty match with no story. Nothing going into All In. What is Swerve doing at All In? You guys tell me. What is he doing? Yes, the demand is going to be something. And I do believe when they're doing All In, they're going to be outside in the parking lot. And if I'm right, there's going to be just a Hurt Syndicate showing up at All In to go with Swerve. Unless it's the former New Day. The former Kofi Kingston and the former Xavier Wood that will be by his side, and they will try to get the trios titles or try to make a bid for them just to be presentable. But if it's not them and it's the Hurt Syndicate with MVP, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with Swerve? I'm going to say this, guys. The last thing we saw when we saw the closing of the show was a vid pack for Kenny and Will. It was just showing their time in New Japan and AEW. Anything new? No. Nothing new. Now, mind you, the opening of the show with a Will Ospreay was not bad. Him talking about his life, talking about how things were, how the things that mean the most to him, that he owes people. He didn't like that Kenny mentioned his son and said, you're going to get your ass got for even bringing my sons into the forefront of this, saying anything. I'm going to whoop your ass. Fine. That all was perfectly all right. It was not bad. It was mostly emotional, and it was not bad. But then at the very end of the show, we get a vid pack of that. Felt weak. So how do I feel about this show? Altogether, and I'm sure I'm missing something here. Sorry for the noise. I'm sure I'm missing something. If I am, I'm sorry. Oh, almost forgot. Jericho's now in the gauntlet match too. He wants to be in the casino gauntlet match. So now he's a part of it. He did talk pretty well. But is there excitement for this? No. Because of how weak most of the stories are. Look, the Continental Challenge Cup should not have a Jon Moxley at the end of it. He should take a break. He should have taken a break for the next couple of months. Yeah, he could do something on All In. There's no problem with that. But he should be taking a break. Setting up to build up to trying to get the Continental Championship back after whoever wins it. If it's Niles McGuinness. You see I'm angry. I'm mispronouncing McGuinness, which is Guinness, even though I don't drink. It feels like it's not really super important to them. There should be better booking than this. It is lacking some things. important things. What is Swerve Strickland going to be doing? He's going to be in a trios group with either the Hurt Syndicate, which will be a waste, or it would be good, see him work with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They're with him. They would make the best sense. If it's the Hurt Syndicate with MVP, I'm going to be pissed. It better be with Kofi, the former Kofi, and Xavier Woods. If it's not, that's not right. But it's just me. Peace.